A very good evening to you all. How are you? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world. My name is Ezra Tshisa, talking football, talking soccer with yours truly on a Tuesday evening. Today we're going to touch a lot of news coming from Africa, coming from Europe, as well as talk about England. Obviously, I can see Brian there. Brian, greetings. How are you, Brian?
Tshisa, how's it going?
I'm good, good. And I can see there Ty. Yes, Ty.
Bye, Cross.
Johnny.
Ngiyaphila Tshisa kunjani alright Brian?
Yes,
Good.
I think I can see Utebe who is driving as well. There's a much excited fan. Guys, without wasting time, welcome to the show. International weekend. England has failed once again to qualify for the Nations Cup final. What's wrong with England, Brian? Maybe you want to
I
give us
think
the surface?
I think England need to move away from this whole playing two central holding midfielders. I've never been a fan of it. I think the biggest weapon is attack, and that's what they have. What they need is an industrious midfielder, which I think Etienne Rice, Jordan Henderson, and the guy from Leeds are very capable of to sit in front of that back four and wipe everything. I think England play a very defensive formation for a team that is very attacking players at
Yeah,
the moment.
but one will say that Belgium are too strong for because Belgium are rated number one in the world.
Belgium is a very strong team, but I think the way England played that game, especially in the first half, they played a very confident game. A game that's almost saying, you are too good for us, therefore, we're just going to, play around you guys and then, play around you guys. I think what England needed to do was be on the front foot and attack Belgium. I think their defense is not one of the greatest in Europe, let alone in the world.
All right, we're going to come to that because we want to discuss more details. I was expecting a good friend of mine who is an Aston Villa fan, a white guy. They wanted to say something, but I'm just trying to connect. But first things first, let's visit African football. We witnessed some bad football from Africa, although some people believe that it is good play. But when I watched it, to be honest, I looked at some of the games being played there. The standard is pathetic. We talk of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, they are saying the return leg, they were beaten 3-1, and then they went to Harare National Sports Stadium. Yesterday, they came from 2-0 down to draw 2-all. Ty, you have the results of African football.
Yeah, I do have the results, but they played round 3 and round 4. There are quite a few matches that were played. First of all, what I want to say is I don't think it's a good idea for African football to play like 2 rounds of games back to back like that, like trying to copy the European style. We saw what happened to other teams, like the traveling on its own. It's horrible in Africa. There's no infrastructure, the connection flights, and all those kind of things. We saw the team Gabon team sleeping in the airport and stuff like that. Yeah, okay. There are quite a few games, but the matches are mixed up, so I can't give you the results as in Group A,
No,
Group
no, no,
B, and Group
no.
C.
Just choose maybe the best teams in Africa here and there. We can't touch all of them. There are just too many.
Yeah, there are too many. I would say from round 3, I see Morocco beat Central Africa 4-1. South Africa beat Saint-Tome Principe 2-0. Tunisia 1, Tanzania 0. Nigeria, that was an interesting match. They were leading 4-0 against Sierra Leone, and they drew 4-4.
Really?
Algeria, that the match you're talking about versus Zimbabwe. Algeria 3, Zimbabwe 1. And on the same group there, the interesting match, Zambia 2, Botswana 1. And which one can I pick as well? Senegal 2, Guinea-Bissau 0. And Ghana 2, Sudan 0.
Yeah, bear in mind that these were back-to-back results. So
yeah, that's
go on.
the third round. If I can maybe jump again, go to the fourth round that they played, which is some of the games played today, some of the games they played on the 15th and on the weekend, and From the game that played today, Sierra Leone 0, Nigeria 0. Togo 1, Egypt 3. That's just finished now. Ethiopia 3. And Niger 0. And then I'll go to the same group of Zimbabwe, which is Botswana 1 and Zambia 0. And then the same Zimbabwe 2, Algeria 2. Which other group is more interesting? Saint-Omer Principe, they chose to play their home match in South Africa, in Port Elizabeth. They were beaten 4-2 by South Africa. And which other game that Senegal beat Guinea-Bissau 1-0, away from home. I guess those are the results, but if ever you want any, I can give it to you.
Okay, that's all right. Hello, everyone. And you feel free to participate and say, you know, these panelist guys, there might be people who love football. Sometimes, especially Brian misses thinks that Liverpool is the only team in England. So sometimes it's biased. So
the most successful team in the country.
Yeah. Okay, guys, you talked, you spoke of traveling, logistics, but this was an agreement between CAF, Football Association, and the FIFA, so that these international games are played one weekend. Because players sometimes they play in Europe, some they play elsewhere. So they said, why don't we mix the calendars so that international games are played same time all over the world? So if you say it should change, that means you disturb, especially a team like Liverpool. You take all their strikers out during the crucial games to play in Africa like before. So now they change that to say no. When we have international games, let them be played the same week so that no one is disturbed. But in Africa, the logistics, they are struggling with the travel. A multimillionaire sleeping at the airport. Hello, Lorraine. What do you think of that, Brian? Wasn't Ty suggesting that these games, they can't in Africa?
I think sometimes we need not to be too ambitious. And what I mean by that is that everything that we do needs to be within our infrastructure. For example, if Europe is doing back-to-back sort of legs, and we can't afford back-to-back legs, just don't do it. As an example, that's just an example. Just don't do it because we can't afford to do it. And we know that
what should happen?
Africa is struggling.
What I can say, Ezra, besides all the logistics that you're talking about, but they also contribute to the bigger picture that the point that I wanted to raise, is that you saw Zimbabwe, they were also begging for transport to get from the transport from Algeria to the south. And then the Algeria told them that no, this flight can't be bought by non-Algerians. It's the military plane. So at the same time, you get the traveling is horrible. The players, they pick up injuries. If you play like players like Aubameyang, they sleep in airport, you go play another game, you haven't rested much, you come back to your club, you're carrying an injury. The next time the club will say, no, we can't release you. But you pay so much money and then you bring some injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
the grounds are pathetic. I saw the National Sports Stadium of Zimbabwe. It was so pathetic. You can't say it's 2020.
What are you saying, Brian?
But that's what I'm saying, that why then does CAF insist on a model that doesn't work? It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So why do they insist on doing all of this? Why don't they adopt a model that is maybe say have regional games first, play the regionals, and then when you play regionals, you then play other countries that are across the continent? Because at the moment, having a Zimbabwe from Zimbabwe to Algeria, it's impossible. Zimbabwe can't afford that. Not because Zimbabwe doesn't have money, because
in other words, yeah, I can see your point. Because Europe is small. It's easy to go to Europe. If I want to go to Barcelona now, an hour of the day, Paris an hour of the day, everywhere an hour. So what we are saying is that they should group them accordingly regionally. They say certain countries they play group Yeah, West Africans, they play the group. North Africans, East Africans.
Yeah.
Then
And
they
then
take the two teams at top.
And
They
then
go to the finals.
escalate it that way. Because at
yeah,
the
they go and
moment,
meet up at the
it's
finals and stuff
unsustainable.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impossible. The money is
Mr.
not there.
James
Nobody can
Kasa,
charter plane.
you can come in, Mr. Brian Marokasa. We're waiting for you here. You're not here. There was the Kulu listening and watching. You can join the debate, say your opinions. I think you're coming with a brilliant idea too, Brian. Because if you say you group them like that, the expenses will, if Zimbabwe can go by road to Botswana or to South Africa, you see, it's
Certainly.
easier that. Okay,
Quite certainly, and like the thing, that's why the Champions League in this country works, in this continent works, because you can travel from here to Switzerland in 2 hours. You can travel from here to Poland in 2.5 hours. Everywhere, there are a couple of places where
I think the only furthest we can take 3 hours maybe is Turkey. All others less than 2 hours.
Precisely.
Yeah,
So-
even the Champions League is better. What we're seeing with the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, this one, you can compare it to the Europa Leagues. You find that there are other teams in other countries that you've never heard of in the Europa League, and then
but
the traveling is also.
No, you should not undermine Europa. No, it's a big competition. No, don't say
Yeah,
that.
but the clubs, the clubs that are competing there, they've got money. They can charter a plane, go direct and land there. But for the supporters, you find that they're always complaining that there's some places that you can't get there, or something like that. But Africa is really, really, really
That's
bad.
where African football is suffering. The national team suffers. How do you expect supporters of Botswana to go in their thousands all the way to Egypt?
No, that's definitely impossible.
The furthest that Botswana should be playing, first on the reach is Kenya. That's the furthest they should be playing. The furthest that Botswana should be playing is Angola. That's the furthest they should be playing. They shouldn't have to go all the way to Egypt, all the way to Tunisia. Come on.
Journey from Harare to Algeria direct is 6.5 hours to 7 hours. You see,
that's before we speak about the logistical part of checking
Of course.
in, all this and that.
I'm just talking it when it's flying now. Yes, Mta.
So you need 10 hours.
Why I get this argument around logistics? I think in terms of the quality of football, what we have seen so far in the past years has been that the Northern African teams seem to play better football than us in the Southern region. So unless we fight ourselves against the best, we'll always have that view. Imagine how England qualifies for every major competition because they've been playing these lower teams, which they struggle.
Tebe,
Yes.
I think where you are missing the point is you cannot compete. Southern African teams, maybe South Africa, cannot compete with North African teams in terms of resources and money. So
I get that.
You cannot say no. We have to try ourselves against. Look at how embarrassing it is for Algeria to land in Harare first before Zimbabwe is there. Zimbabwe stuck in another country. The team they played in Algeria already in Harare before Zimbabwe still struggling to find connections to go back home. Is it not embarrassing?
My question is
It's very embarrassing. The issue of resources is actually to do with I think we've discussed this before around our economic situation in Zimbabwe, which is linked to politics as well. So
wait about Zimbabwe only. It's affecting the whole.
If any other countries struggling as Zimbabwe is, or is it just Zimbabwe?
They are
in terms of logistical travels.
They are struggling. Zambia sometimes use bus to travel to Congo, to South Africa.
Like I said, the Saint-Thierry Principe, they had to ask South Africa to play their home game in South Africa because they couldn't go fly back on time as well, and maybe they don't even have a stadium that side,
Yeah.
So it's quite to charter a flight. If you charter a flight to go to another place, how much are you going to get in return?
Nothing.
That's the point. Nothing. So the regional thing is much better. Sadaki, Sesafa, and then all those up there, they play their own, and then we come and mix one time in the off season, wherever in the tournament.
Yeah, I buy that idea. I think you came out, guys, with a great idea.
But what I wanted to pick up with Ta is saying, when you play against the better nations, you become better. I'll ask you a simple question. Even in Europe now, is Moldova getting better? Is Andorra getting better?
No.
They always get humiliated. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well, actually, guys, if you look at Andorra and teams like Georgia, I think they're getting stronger. They used to get beat by 5 million or whatever, and now they're even scoring goals themselves.
Now they're getting better.
Let me help you, right? Let me help you. I think talking of the Nations Cup. The Nations Cup, they are seated. There's big one, A, B, C. They're in the lowest, so they play against one another. If you're talking of the nations, I'm sure when you saw Andorra scoring against because they were playing on their own. They are not
versus Andorra. What do you expect?
This nations tournament we are talking about is different from the way it is the World Cup or the Champions League or whatever. No. So anyway, let me mute him. His phone is very noisy. I think it is coming out of the car. Right. So we were spoken about Africa. We saw how Dedicate Mahrez is playing for his national side. But from the Zimbabwean players there, guys, a lot of people believe that what you call it, Lucas, to whatever the coach, his name is. I think he has finally gotten 1 point out of his games he has been coach of. Do you think that Zimbabwe, Zifa should have spent money on this coach who has failed elsewhere?
Absolutely. I'm gonna say another word, but that guy is clueless. Why will you hire somebody, Tshisa? I can, for a country like Zimbabwe with limited resources. Right. Why will you hire somebody? Maybe you will get a minimum of $5,000 a month. Why will you hire somebody like that instead of looking for a local coach who know the players, even if you pay him 3,000 or whatever amount you agree with? And do something, whether even the results are not there, because these guys don't bring anything different.
Okay, the good thing is that the local coaches won't even need accommodation and allowances from you. And then you pay them with the local currency. And I don't know why they hate Norman Mapeza. I think Norman Mapeza did well with the national team, so is Raman Kumbo.
Yeah, because at this moment in time, you try to minimize your resources and try to put them together and bring up. I
don't know why you play this phone. Oh God, let's mute him again. Right. So you believe in local coaches? What? Because when you cry, say you don't have resources, and then again you go to hire an international coach, whereby Zimbabwe has been in the past been punished by FIFA for failing to pay those coaches. You know, Zimbabwe was nearly banned. Was banned actually.
Yeah, banned in FIFA, yes.
Yeah, for failing to pay.
World Cup, yeah.
Yeah, and you continue bringing. I'm tired. It is failing. I don't know why he's put on the speaker. Then you are failing to pay. You are failing to pay your own players, but you're busy bringing foreign coaches. What's the difference is this guy gonna make? But anyway, now that Zambia lost to Botswana, Zimbabwe stands a good chance of qualifying with Algeria.
No, that group, yes. All the three teams can still qualify with Algeria.
You think Botswana? Algeria now needs what? Now just need
Algeria have qualified.
You've qualified. How many points do they have? 9.
No, they've got 10. Algeria have.
They're through. So they just need to 10. The group. If they get a draw, they will top the group. So Botswana now has to play Zimbabwe.
It's a must-win game for Zimbabwe there.
He has to play Algeria as well.
Yeah.
Zambia has to play Zimbabwe and also Algeria.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Zambia can still qualify because they've got 3 points.
Brian, was it you now? Was I think muted you? I think we have to mute Mta. This phone is making so much noise. I don't know, Mta. Yeah, go on. So now it's a tricky situation. I think Zimbabwe stands a better chance now because he has to face Zambia and Botswana, while Zambia has to face Zimbabwe and Algeria.
Because you see, all the three teams from the bottom, Zambia has got 3 points, Botswana have got 4 points, and Zimbabwe has got 5 points.
I think we qualify because we're not facing Algeria anymore because we have to just to beat these two.
Yeah, but if you remember,
but you look at the results, Tshisa.
Yeah.
Look at the results against Botswana. What were the last 2 results against Botswana?
We drew with them, isn't it?
We drew, yeah.
And then we beat Zambia.
We beat Zambia away.
After that, Zambia, what happened? We drew with Zambia again.
So I think you look at your phone again because
okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So we beat those. We beat those. We beat. Oh, we only worked at 1 win, by the way, and the 2 draws.
Yeah. I think if you can beat Botswana in their home ground, we stand a much better chance because we have opened the gap. We go to 8, and then they'll remain on 4 points. You see, that's the must-win game that is coming for Zimbabwe.
Beating Botswana.
Yeah.
Do you realistically see Zimbabwe beating Botswana anytime soon?
No, they won't beat them, but we just
beat them. Come on, guys. We'll beat Botswana.
No, you see that coach. You saw Tshisa, you saw that coach. What is like? He went to Algeria. He picked that team that he played. He was humiliated there. He could have easily thrown that game. I don't blame him. The chances that they missed. And then the second leg, he picked the same team again. And then he had to change in the second half and say, "Oh no, we are already buried, dead and buried. What's the point?" That's when he changed, and then things changed as well.
Yeah, but another question which I wanted to ask: most of those Warriors players, including Unakamba, they're not playing in their teams. So there are people or there are players who are actually active. For instance, Prince Sibanda, he's doing wonders. The top goal scorer in Tanzania is playing week in, week out in his own form. Look at when he was put on, he scored a goal, an equalizer. Some of these guys are not.
You heard what your coach said, though. He pretty much Tanzanian league is a farmers' league.
No, but you know, Brian, I can still question him as well. Where is he coming from, that guy? Is Denmark?
Not even Denmark. It's not Denmark. It's another country. I've forgotten.
Is he not coming from a farmers' league? Is he not a PE teacher where he was? He's a football coach. You might find these guys, they come into Africa, they are PE teachers and they think they know football.
You know, in this country, if he had said that, he would have forced to resign. I'm telling you. People undermine Africa so much.
Yeah. Now, I think a goal scorer is a goal scorer. Whether you play in the Scottish League, the Japanese League, the Zimbabwean League, if you're a prolific goal scorer, you are a prolific goal scorer. That's it. Yes, you might have to adjust your game when you get to a different level. Of course, you have to. But if you're
perhaps I know you mentioned that the players that are playing abroad, maybe like you made an example of Funakamba. Let's just say the ones that play in Europe and that are in professional football clubs. I remember when we had one of our guests here who spoke about how intense the training regimes are in the European countries. Whereas compared to Africa, where you can maybe be allowed to train one day, depending on how you agree with the coach. So again, there is that assumption that when you're playing maybe in Europe, and if you're playing in a professional league, the professionalism is of a higher standard. You pretty much training well enough to be in a team. It's just that maybe the opportunities are not presenting themselves in that team.
Have you ever heard of being match fit? Have you ever heard of being match fit?
Yes.
You can train and carry all insibles and do everything. If you are not match fit for football, you won't do anything. Prince is playing 90 minutes every week and scoring goals. goals for that Tanzanian team. Prolific
So-
goal scorer.
So my question is, okay, if Sibanda is playing in a Farmers League, which is Tanzanian league,
Which
for
is
that-
professional, by the way, is
Yeah.
full time.
they are playing games there. Zimbabwe is not playing games. When was the last league game played in the Zimbabwean Premier League? You can't even remember now.
Last year.
And then that guy is being wanted by European clubs, French Ligue 1 clubs, and the Moroccan sides. So he has to play for the national team after he signs for those clubs. For now, he's not good enough.
Mm.
So, because some people have already recognized the talent in the boy, and they're all coming for that guy. There's a tape, an offer of $1 million on the table for him from Moroccan team. But this guy who comes from where we don't know where he comes from, he says he's a Farmers League. I don't understand. He doesn't understand football, that guy. I just saw him. He doesn't understand football. Because from the 2 games, you can see that this guy is clueless. He's not doing, he's clueless, absolutely clueless.
Yeah.
But what about all these other? You sometimes you watch like Gillette Soccer Saturday, and you watch some of these lower leagues in England where you see some surnames and you just think that sounds Zimbabwean. Have all these players ever been approached by maybe FIFA to recruit them into our Zimbabwe setting?
Well, I'll give you an insight into that, Mta. There's at least 8 guys that I know that are Zimbabwean that play in the local leagues, but they will never commit for the Zimbabwean team because
I was part of the people who were nominated by the last administration of FIFA to approach these guys. We spoke quite a number of them who are playing. I think one is in Blackpool, another one in Newcastle, another one. Those guys, they say this, they are from Zimbabwe, but no, there's no assurance. A player when is coming up and hears this politics and the scandals and that, therefore doesn't want to jeopardize their careers by going to a place why these Nakambas are going. It is because they came from there. What you should look at Zimbabwe, there's no player who has come from this side from Norway and went on to join to play for Zimbabwe. It's always the other way around. Those who have played for Zimbabwe before.
This guy was playing Tshisa, this defender, he was wearing number 4. Is it Chicken or what's his name? He was that one. No, not Darikwa. The other left back. I saw the guy. Chicken or something like Chicken said. Oh God, I don't know where they got that guy from.
Yeah,
and this is the thing. Few good defenders are playing the lower league.
Many of these youngsters, through their parents who are Zimbabweans, they actually refuse. They play like Darikwa because he has failed at Burnley, is going down. He now knows that there is no future in football. He's old. So what can he do? Let me play for the national team of Zimbabwe. But he was at Burnley before. Don't forget that he played in Burnley. But now, because he was sold to Nottingham, was let free to go to Nottingham Forest. So what can you do? You see that there's no future playing for England. So these youngsters coming up, they believe that they can make it to the England side.
Yeah, so that's another point as well. That if given a choice, whether you play for England or you play for Zimbabwe, come on, there's no brainer. Some of these guys, even in their teams, what we forget is that
bear in mind, it's still on that brand, quick one. Still on that brand. Bear in mind, it happened even in France. All the French national team is Africans. They decided to choose France. For instance, to them that all these guys said, no, I'm better here. Patrick Vieira was from Senegal, and all these players decided to say, no, I'll play for France. Do you believe that Patrick Vieira will have achieved what he achieved with France had he played for Senegal?
No ways.
Chance.
See, that's another thing. So the players are advising. You can see the names. Don't worry about the names. They won't go there and risk. Right? I think we were spoken about Zimbabwe. It was bad. The team which played in the second half, I hope the coach uses those players because they played better football. Omahachi, these are now to show you that with you say the European, they are trained, professional, whatever. Look at the players who came in and substituted the second half who are playing in Africa. Look at what they did. They marked Umares out of the game. Omahachi, all those players who came in, Pilati, or Prince, Those are local players who play in South Africa and elsewhere. Those who are playing in Europe, whatever. I think Kadewerelwana is better, but Okaruru Lava, aye.
No match fitness. No match fitness. Because it's one thing just going to the training ground, kicking a few balls, playing with side by side, you have a bit of pressing here and there, and then maybe a couple of times
But-
a week, 11 on 11. We've done that.
Brian, is it the shocking defending that was the first goal that they conceded in the national team level? You can't concede a goal like that.
Yeah.
There was nobody picking up the player. No one was marking. It was shocking. I was embarrassed to see
Even
that.
Murray's goal to a certain degree, his first touch, brilliant. Don't take anything away from him. His first touch was sublime. But after that, I was looking at it and thinking, do these guys even have a coach? What is this?
Okay, to this side, Zimbabwe national team, a lot of people saying this every time they come, they try to say, this is a promising side. Do you think finally now they've got a team, or it's just the same Zimbabwe?
Tshisa,
Promising.
I was one of them who was saying Zimbabwe was promising when Knowledge Msona was on fire and Kamabiliat was on fire. But if you look at Kamabiliat, he never played anything those 2 games. They played him because of the name. In South Africa, his team, Kaizer Chiefs, is struggling, but they still play him. And then Msona, what he did them free. He scored on dead ball situation. Open play, shocking. There was a goal that he was supposed to control and shoot. He tried to hit it first time.
He missed quite a number of chances.
Umswana could have won us that game. You could have won us that game, but he was good on dead balls. You remember the first free kick that is he hit the crossbar, and the second one that he scored. On dead ball, he was good because even the second goal he came from his corner kick.
Umsona can make it at Liverpool. Some people believe that he can make it at Liverpool.
No, he's finished. He's finished, Umsona.
Whoever says that needs to behave over this guy. Some people need to behave.
Okay, all right.
There's nothing promising about that Zimbabwe squad. To start with, the goalkeeping was shocking. That Chipeze, I don't know how he keeps getting fielded in that team. Honestly, you don't punch a ball. I mean, I'm referring to the first game. You don't punch a ball into the penalty area. That's like laying the ball for the striker. You know, you punch the ball outwards towards the corner, towards outfield. You don't punch the ball into the penalty area. You know, that's just asking, you know, for a goal. You know,
if basic football, you have to punch it to an angle, in an angry way, not just punch it towards the striker.
Ezra, I will answer you a question, Yakuti. Is there hope for Zimbabwean football? There's no hope. The reason why I'm saying so is look at the junior team selection that is coming. Because what are they doing to those boys, under 17 boys that they are doing? The selection is shocking on its own. It's terrible. So what do you expect to come up after this generation? It's another shocking players that are coming up, because there's I don't know how to call it. What type of selection is that? Is it biased or whatever it is?
I'll answer you on that. In Zimbabwe, there's a problem with Intozom Diesel, corruption. Now corruption is in sport. There are academy guys running the academies in Zimbabwe. The coach who comes in here is given money to select my players. The Bulawayo clubs, the academies in Bulawayo, they don't have money. No one knows that Tshisa. So that guy who comes from Harare goes and picks players because he gets something. Oh, Brian will have a team and say, because you can't say a national team must know under 17 Zimbabwe when there's no league. How do you know the under 17s when there's no league? When the players are not playing? So therefore, he's told by the academy owners.
But there should be, Ezra, there should be somebody there who's like a technical director. When you come to team selection, you select players regionally, like what we were saying about Africa Cup of Nations. Matepelele select and others select and others select. And then they play together. Then you see all the players, and then you do what? You pick your squad from there. But no, you have never watched under 17 games in Wanki. You never watched 17 games in Kwanta, in Bridge. But you should pick a team.
I'll tell you a quick story about my experience in Zimbabwe. I used to be a very good sprinter back in my day, and and I'm qualified for the school. I've ran for the school qualified, ran for the zonal qualified, ran for Matabele and qualified. Now it comes for me from running to Zimbabwe. Now we have to travel to South Africa I have to represent Zimbabwe, travel to South Africa. I have the best times at the 110-meter hurdles. Best times in the country.
And they left you.
Country mile. And we go into camp. Happy, I've been selected for Zimbabwe. We're going into camp. Day 3 of camp, they come over and tell me, we found somebody that we think might run.
Yes.
Maybe you can stay behind.
I can attest to that because that's how it happens. What Brian was saying is exactly that. So, like I'm trying to answer you on that. At the moment, there are no games being played for the under 17, let alone the senior side, the clubs. Therefore, whoever calls names of players, does somebody go in and say, I want Umta from Birmingham, I want so and so from Manchester, I want so and so from wherever, and avoid players from a big club like Highlanders, Chicken Inn, and all those who have got the junior police, who have got registered players in their books, and pick players from academies. What I'm saying to you is that those academy owners, they give reference, say, if you pick my boy, I'll give you $50. And then they pick those players, then they say, this is the national team. Do you know why? They are trying to earn more points so that when they sell players, because this FIFA thing, which is nonsense, which says that we should have featured for your national team for 75% of the games. So they are actually chasing that. So that when they try to sell these academy players elsewhere, they already have the caps for the national side under 17. You see, that's where the problem is.
There you go.
Yeah, that's why I'm also raising that point to say that corruption will not make Zimbabwe any better anytime soon.
No.
Unless that thing is fixed. Zimbabwe needs to be fixed on its own so that the Zimbabwean football can be fixed.
You know, when I suggested to people that we need FIFA to just ban Zimbabwe, let the government interfere, then ban Zimbabwe, we'll go fix our problem like what Nigeria did. They went on to fix their issues. Nigeria came out with the squad. So at the moment, with things they are, because it starts from the top, FIFA is rotten to the core. As you saw, they use their friends as ball boys, they're old Matalas, as ball boys, pick up the balls for Algeria game. Can you imagine somebody as old as me, because the other guy, I know him, and they're running around picking for Mario ball, and then saying, because of the coronavirus, so we rather protect the kids. But who is prone to the disease? An old man, a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old. A 6-year-old is more affected, is safer than you, Mta. You know it very well. It's like, yeah? Yeah. Very much running around, picking the ball for Prince Dube, running around the ground. And then you know what? Because you know what happens there? They are their friends. They write in the Zifa books that the allowance is given to the ball man, $100 for that game. That's how rotten it is, because it should be a tender, it should be advertised. What I was saying to them when I spoke to Kwesela, the spokesperson, I said they should have used the under 17 team. If you said no minors, should have the under 17 teams, those boys, at least mature, you pick those boys to be ball boys. You have worked in
games on allow catch and raisers, because the way I understood it, Mina, before when I used to play junior football, we used to catch and raise games. Say like catch and raise games, and then become
you're talking about time. In new regulations, the FIFA, that was FIFA and all that. No game should be played before the main game. The pitch should be spot on. So
how do these boys get inspired to play for the national team later on? Because that was our highlight. Let me get about the same pitch.
It's not their problem. Teams, they should have academies, and these academies should play games against each other. There shouldn't be no favoritism. Anyway, let's move on quick one to Europe. England, every time. The papers here, the media here, including O'Brien, they hype England. The best squad. England is doing well with the Hurricane. this and that. Every time. Now they fail to qualify for Nations Cup finals. Yeah? I can't believe that they are number 3.
You know, the surprising thing is, after that game, all I heard was praise. Which England played well. Unfortunately, I didn't watch the game, but all I was hearing was, you know, they took a lot of positives from that game, having played Belgium. But then, you know, at the end of the day, it's a loss, and they failed to qualify for the Nations Cup.
Yeah, but where I don't understand why, I want to understand, Brian, you guys, why are they saying let's take some positive? England played well when they lost.
I think they're now coming back on the whole thing that Belgium is the best team in the world when it comes to FIFA rankings. I personally think that Gareth Southgate may not be the right person for that job. I think they need to look for a different person to take that team forward. I think Gareth Southgate
we've got India, which is against the hiring of foreign coaches. But it's
too cautious. That's his problem. Why are we playing 2 central defensive midfielders? Why? There's just no need.
Because we don't have that creativity, Brian. We don't have those midfielders who are creative.
So you discount Jack Grealish? Mason Mount can be quite creative.
I wanted to talk about Jack Grealish. I saw he showed you that is a better quality player than you are saying that is useless. You saw Jack Grealish is a good player.
He's not consistent to Jack Grealish. He will have one game where he flashes, and then he will have.
Please, when you say something is not consistent, tell us which game he was out of form since the league started this year. Has been their main man.
And even the whole of the time in the championship.
Yes, has been their main man. This is why he's getting paid 3 times more than the second player who comes close to him in salaries. That guy is good.
Do you remember when we spoke back in the day when we were talking about the likes of Ross Barkley? I was telling you, this guy Ross Barkley. Those guys played together through the whole England setup. The Ross Barkleys, the Grealishes.
I like Ross Barkley.
Is actually looking pretty okay when Ross Barkley came.
I like Ross Barkley. I think Ross Barkley, when he's played in that number 10 position, I think he plays a lot better.
Yeah, for the club.
I think what you need to do is keep giving Grealish the ball, let him do what he wants.
Look at against Belgium. He was the only one playing. Against Belgium, to be honest, he was the only one playing. Of course, with Saka.
That's why we lost.
The problem with England is development. They hype too much the players. They don't develop. Look at the Belgium. If Belgium was silent for quite some time, they just came up with all those players coming up like a conveyor belt.
Do you believe that if these boys, these England players, they go outside maybe to play in Europe, will it help England? Because I think playing here,
yes,
is damaging them.
Because if they go to countries like about Germany and where they can get more chances to play, because in English Premier League has become more competitive, it's become more commercial. It's all about money. Now, if you're not performing, no one can take a chance to put you in there to develop you. But if you look at these players, they go to Dortmund, the German League, Bundesliga, they get those chances. That's what the English players should do.
Yeah,
they shouldn't give up if you can't get a first team football. They should go outside.
Yeah, it can also help them on their technical side. Also, the people, the problem in England is just one. They don't have players who are creative enough. They select players who play in the same position. 3 players playing in the same position. Like Brian was saying.
England doesn't have creative players. Who's Mason Mount? Who's English? Who's Phil Foden? Those guys are creative. They're just not given the space to be creative. That's all it is. England just doesn't give them space to be creative. It's like
but look at Brian. Look at the type of coach. I mean, from what I have seen of Gareth Southgate, Andy, he is a defensive coach by nature. He is not an attacking-minded manager. When you look at how Gareth Southgate plays, it's just like maybe a new Roy Hodgson. If he's losing, he tends to play a team that doesn't lose by many. So if he's leading, he will maintain that lead. But he doesn't know.
What you're describing is an English coaching philosophy. That's what you're describing. You're not
So
describing.
therefore, maybe that's where the problem is. We are expecting them to have an adventurous philosophy, but they don't have that within their ranks anyway.
Okay,
No,
let's cross over. Let's cross over to Canada. Let's hear with Trevor. Trevor, greetings. Do you have anything to say?
Okay.
Yeah, no, because sometimes Liverpool causes a lot of confusion to people. No, their supporters they don't even know what they want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so-
Defense.
No, I'm saying you can replace Usara because Usara is aging fast. So, right.
That's not.
Okay.
Brian is not ageist. He doesn't like that argument.
Tomorrow's game against Iceland will determine if England are they going to be relegated if they fail to finish second? Who is relegated in this Nations Cup? They relegate one team or two
Let me quickly see.
to go to the B side. And there's A where the England are in the other
I'm
group.
not sure, but I heard some teams being relegated to League C or something, to Group C.
There's A, B, and C. So at the moment, England, I think they are playing Iceland, is it? They have to win that game.
Yeah.
They have to win that game, is it? I'm
I
not
think
sure.
that's a game that England can win quite easily. But again, it depends who is playing. Because if we go back to that whole having two guys sitting, what you then they're creating is that you have the two guys sitting, then you're creating this space between the defensive midfielders and the attackers. As soon as Jack Grealish gets the ball, there's so much space around, but then they're going to close it down quickly. It just depends on the thing. I think we need to come up with a formation that actually utilizes all the spaces on the field, so that if
maybe school me, you know, this boy Bellingham, he was drafted in, wasn't he? He's what, 17? Where does he play?
He plays in Germany.
No, but what position? I'm looking for the position.
Is it midfield?
Is it midfield?
Yeah, is a midfielder, it's not a forward. Is an attacking midfielder.
So I'm just looking at right now. Callum Hudson-Odoi is playing for the under 21s. Do you not think he would have been a better player to have played in that game?
Yeah, I don't know about that. But what I wanted to ask here, guys, if Belgium, do you believe that Belgium should be is number one team in the world? Can you please help me on that? Why is it ranked number one?
It's only those points that they need to use to rank the teams. But at the same time, if they go to a tournament as number one, they never win anything.
I can't believe that if Belgium is number one because of Lukaku. Okay. Right. We have problems, guys, with this COVID thing. Now the Premiership teams pay a lot of money to these players, and they go to Africa, get tested. They are now COVID positive. We see Osala and the Arsenal's rising star, the men of the moment, El Neni, all testing positive for this coronavirus. Now these boys have to be self-isolated and miss games. Is it costing these Premiership clubs when they spend so much money on these players?
It is a tricky one. It's a very tricky situation because now if you have to isolate for 14 days, 2 weeks, how many games you're going to miss there? But you're not going to miss your payment, is it?
Yeah, they don't miss the payment. But Trevor, how do you feel about the
it's costing.
No, I like Usala.
Teams, yeah.
Usala, there is no excuse. Why is he hanging chatting? When you part of him, he really shouldn't have gone there. You know what I mean? Like in his situation, it was very irresponsible.
What I'm saying about these players, because if FIFA now when they actually sanction the clubs, if you don't release a player, but can these Premiership clubs or these top clubs go to FIFA to say it should be on condition that these players they adhere to the strict rules and regulations. Because
I think what is needed is to
Was Aubameyang, if he caught it at the airport sleeping there on the floor, he could have gotten it there. Salah now is tempted. At Liverpool is strict. Yeah, they're locked in their houses. They only meet to training. You shouldn't go anyway. Then he goes there, start going for a wedding. Not discipline. So surely, I think clubs should come up.
We can't beat him up too much.
I think all those
they should find him. Why is the there is no excuse.
Oh, come on, it's his brother's wedding. What do you expect the fella to do?
Postpone the wedding. The man, this is like his livelihood. You know what I mean? Like then the times that we're currently in, there is no excuse.
Your livelihood. If in M17, if your brother is getting married, you ask for time off and you go to your brother's wedding.
No, I think what Trevor.
But you come back and isolate.
Yeah.
No. And I was affecting
I agree with that. One thing, he should have gone there to a wedding and practice the social distance. So the brother think this is your present and disappeared. Then come dancing. You are going to an event which is a super spreader. You know the chances of you getting COVID in a packed room like that. They are almost
without proper testing and down is in jar. You know, won't go into the COVID. La panobam tipe get down in Zima.
Ty, you've muted your microphone. Ty, you have muted your microphone. So that event like a wedding, when a Brian and no defend, I know you're a big supporter of Salah, but events like a wedding, parties and all that, where people sweat and dance and all that, they're super spreaders.
I saw when maybe you shouldn't have gone overboard, but let the fella go to his brother's wedding 100%.
Yeah, but I'm saying sticking to yourself now when you go out, you are dead to the rules, is it?
Yeah.
So just because you're out of Liverpool, you're out of UK, then you believe that you can do whatever you want. That's what I'm saying. If FIFA should say to the clubs, if a player does this, like what Salah did, no pay for this week.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I want to see a shorter.
Yeah.
When you know.
Yeah, if you start finding those players, become more responsive. Yeah.
Yes.
The players they are fine systems in clubs.
Don't mix things. They are fine system, but this corona thing, there's no fine. A player is just told to self-isolate but still gets paid. I myself, if I walk now the street and go out there, I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be fine.
Like in such instances, very fine and straight.
Yeah. You know when they
you know what I mean?
Calling girls and all that.
Yeah.
No, but what the point I'm making is these clubs do have disciplinary measures for people that breach the conduct of the club.
No. It's
so
not
that would constitute a breach of conduct.
Tebe, that's not a misconduct. In COVID-19, there's no law. There's no law in that. When we're outside, now that country has to deal with the restrictions in that country. Yeah. But I'm saying when he was here, so now if the Egyptians allow a gathering, but what should Liverpool do? Say FIFA, club talk to FIFA. If these players will give them the rules and guidelines, when they go there, if they broke them, we are saying we're not going to pay them. Because if they refuse to pay Salah, FIFA will sanction Liverpool. You see?
No, but what I'm saying is, it's not like I don't think Uguti Salah would have gone there and not said that. When my brother is getting married, so I will go to the wedding.
No.
So if accept that information with Liverpool, then Liverpool should have said to him, "Look, bro, you need to maintain social distancing."
Klopp's office and said, "Klopp, Zwana, my brother, charter. Can I go for a couple of days? How long are you going, Salah? I'm going Friday, Saturday, and I'll be back Sunday evening." Okay, so that's fine. They formalize it.
Klopp should say no. They want the NPA and Zan. Yeah, and the people who don't have Puma, you have to isolate. That's how seriously they need to treat it, especially in UK, in US, in terms of just the number of cases allowed. You have to treat it with that seriousness. I gonna logo what you are going to lose into a final, then to cost the team. You know,
so a player like El Neni now. So Arsenal will just bring the player and pay him. Now self-isolating and until he recovers. test negative, that's what is going to be allowed. Arsenal busy paying the players' salaries. Is that fair, really?
Yeah.
You're paying Ozil 200,000 for sitting on the bench. I'm sure if you had
But the problem is you're putting people's lives at risk also.
Yeah.
That's also not mentioned. COVID, how many people are you interacting with? These guys,
they earn millions. Surely they should be.
But again, I still have to maintain that point. Now, Salah, why do go ahead with it? The manager should have been saying to him, daughter, you know, there's COVID in Egypt and there's no restrictions, but we expect you to be responsible. Because when you come back with it, you have to spread.
You don't need to. Because when you are here in UK, you already know. It is up to you. This disease is a problem. It has affected your club. You should be responsible on your own. Not to say I should be told like a baby. You're not a baby. Salah is an old man married.
You're a professional sports person.
Yeah.
Part-times,
It's different. Yeah.
When it's different. These are full-time professional guys that he's to ask for that permission, so to speak, to leave the country. As soon as you get permission, everything is all gone.
Yeah, they expect you to be professional enough and be responsible. You see, now Liverpool will go without him. Hopefully, things will work in our favor. Then they drop points. So we will not.
That defensive thing and
Okay, quick one.
Surprise. Like now, line up.
Okay. But you've got to Chota. So, guys, what are the fixtures? Who are you playing? Arsenal is playing Leeds, is it?
Yeah, Arsenal is playing against Leeds, and there are no other clubs.
Then Liverpool playing what? Manchester.
Why
They're playing Leicester.
What's the name?
You're playing Leicester. And the Manchester United are playing what?
Brendan Rodgers will be back at his stomping ground.
What are you playing?
Manchester, I'm not sure whether it's Newcastle, is it?
We're playing West Brom on Saturday dinner time.
Okay. Yeah. So the big game is obvious. It's Arsenal Leeds. Because Leeds is a much improved side this weekend. I think that's a catch game.
They've lost 2 games on the bounce.
Yeah, but I'm saying that.
About that.
Looking at the fixture, I think that's the biggest game of the weekend so far.
The biggest game, well,
they're talking about former glory, maybe, yeah.
City at tea time, and then you have Liverpool, Leicester, then Leeds, Arsenal. I think.
There's also Hotspurs in Manchester City. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Tea time.
Hotspurs in Manchester City is a tough one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably a Tottenham win there.
Okay, where are they playing at Spurs?
Yep, they're playing at the new Tottenham Hotspur ground.
But Mourinho and Guardiola, who always wins those battles? It's usually one-sided.
Mourinho can surprise, especially in games like this.
Yeah,
can shock you.
Yeah.
I'm sure Liverpool want the Tottenham to win, but ourselves as Arsenal fans want a draw or Spurs to lose.
To be honest, I don't care. It's like very often we two China and that's it.
Ours is not a big game because
right. Guys,
with the VAT space liza ubona umlilo khona bane Liverpool defense and le tatters.
VAT silly sharp. I don't think it is.
All we need is for maybe Henderson is quite doing the case. Get Marty Henderson playing central.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There'll be a red card in that game. There'll be a red card in that game between Liverpool and Leicester. Watch his space. Okay.
Yeah.
Professional foul, red card. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Trevor, thank you. Thank you, Tebe. Thank you, Charlie. Right.
Always.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll meet next time. Thank you.